You think you're reading the Karmapa? No, you're not. You're reading her projection. Filtered, paraphrased, rewritten by Adele Tomlin. Every word she touches carries incongruence. Devotion on the surface, poison underneath. She doesn't translate. She rewrites. She reframes, infecting every word with her personal observations, her duplicitous commentary, her obsessions, her moral lectures, her emotional debris. By the time you reach the Karmapa's message, you're not hearing him. You're hearing her as the counterfeit Karmapa. She never quotes his real voice, never directs you to the Karmapa's websites, but her own Dakini Translations website. Why? Because it is never about the Karmapa. It's always about Adele Tomlin, layering perfidious interpretations to eclipse him. How far can she possibly go in editing the Karmapa? How about she interprets him through the presumption of guilt, as if every word hid a flaw, every silence concealed scandal, every gesture demanded correction. Court allegations become her facts. Rumors are elevated to truth. She drags the Karmapa's voice through her swamp of deceitful projections until teachings sound like accusations and blessings look like traps. How is this still called translation? It's character assassination disguised as devotion. Then one might ask, does Adele Tomlin follow Vajrayana? No, she obliterates Vajrayana. The Karmapa is her gateway. The Dalai Lama is her target. And you are the pawns she ensnares to fight her manufactured wars. The performance of loyalty masks the incongruence of betrayal. Every piece of writing positions Adele Tomlin not as a follower, not as a translator, but as the self-appointed judge of the guru. She twists the Karmapa's words as if he were always guilty, always in need of her corrections, her judgments, her superior lens. She hijacks the blessing, strips the symbolic power, and parades his words like stolen trophies. You don't meet the Karmapa, you meet her correction of him. And she denigrates him again, and again, and again. It's an endless cycle of treacherous self-aggrandizement, a direct desecration of the Dakini principle, for while a true Dakini protects and amplifies the guru, Adele's Dakini Translations brand exists only to outshine, overshadow, and replace him. How does Adele Tomlin view of the Dalai Lama? She no longer hides her malevolence toward the Dalai Lama. It is militant. The behavior of a mind so rotten and perverse that no decent human, let alone a Buddhist, would act with such virulence. She mocks devotional praise to the Dalai Lama as insulting and inappropriate, even when those words come directly from the 17th Karmapa himself. She twists the Karmapa's voice into weapons and presents her vindictiveness as truth. When the Karmapa speaks of the Dalai Lama with reverence, she calls it weakness. When he praises the Dalai Lama, she twists it into satire. She projects her enmity onto the very figure she pretends to serve. And she frames this outright transgression proudly as honesty, as if overthrowing the Dalai Lama were the purest way to serve the Karmapa and the Tibetan community. Adele's duplicitous, corrosive propaganda neither protects nor preserves the Karmapa or the Kagyu lineage. It erodes every lineage by severing the spine of Tibetan unity. How can this be called loyalty when it's clearly insidious sectarian sabotage wearing the mask of devotion? She even shames sacred rituals, claiming that any long-life prayers for the Dalai Lama are proof of Gelugpa domination and of the neglect of other masters. She goes further, ridiculing the very wish for any guru's long life as unnatural and unethical. In Vajrayana, where wishing for the guru's long life is an indispensable core of the 7 branch offerings, included within the Samantabhadra's King of Aspiration prayers, her condemnation is a direct violation of the heart of Dharma. Gurus are the irreplaceable sources of blessings. Without gurus, there is no Dharma left to survive. To deride the wish for a guru's long life, to sneer at praise for the Dalai Lama, is nothing but a calculated strike against the continuity of blessing and the unbroken lineage of awakening. Her contempt for the Dalai Lama and Gelugpa is not personal rancor. It is sectarian treason and existential sabotage, designed to fracture Tibetan unity and hollow out Vajrayana from within. If the Dalai Lama's authority fractures, the Tibetan diaspora risks disintegration. And Vajrayana itself loses its coherence. Who benefits from this? Not practitioners, not Tibetans. Only those who thrive on division, sectarian predators, political opportunists, and any entities that want Tibetan Buddhism broken beyond repair. Adele Tomlin, who parades as a brave lone woman speaking truth, does not merely desecrate Vajrayana, she perverts and erases it. Her entire project is a ritualized inversion of Dharma, striking at the very root of Vajrayana, guru devotion. She incriminates the Dagpo Kagyu lineage prayer by vilifying sincere devotion as ignorant attachment and by demonizing the sacred defensive lineage as bullying or harassment. A calculated attempt to uproot the lifeline of blessing and continuity, such venom targets the principle of Dharma protectors, Dharmapalas, whose vows are to guard, shield, and preserve the teachings. Adele twists these guardians into villains, casting their sacred duty as hostility, a malicious perversion of Vajrayana itself. By ridiculing guru devotion and denying the need for Dharma protectors, she amputates Vajrayana, severing the three roots, guru, yidam, Dharma protectors, and leaving the tradition to bleed out under her counterfeit narrative. This is not an open and fair scholarly discourse, but oppressive brainwashing that shields her exclusively from any opposition, an active annihilation of Vajrayana, masked as righteous critique, the unmistakable work of a devious predator feeding on devotion. The public is made to believe she follows the Karmapa, but in reality, Adele feeds on him, parasitically, relentlessly, draining his credibility, bleeding his words dry until only her warped reflection remains. She wraps herself in his authority like a thief wearing the robes of the master, a counterfeit inheritor of trust. Her commentary is not insight. It is predatory mimicry, disguising her attacks as honest confessions and her contempt as scholarship. In her narrative, Adele is no longer a translator. She is the real Karmapa, the one who corrects him, redefines him, and replaces him. Her voice is a fraud masquerading as the voice of lineage. When you accept her framing, you do not receive blessings. You consecrate the impostor. You crown the saboteur as queen of a hollow throne built on duplicity and spiritual theft. Next time Adele Tomlin publishes anything about the Karmapa, pause and ask, whose voice is this, Karmapa's or hers? What's genuine teaching? And what's her twist? Who is she trying to make me hate this time? Would her words hold any weight without Karmapa's name? And once you see this repetition, do you still believe it's scholarship? Or recognize it as calculated conditioning? Adele's lens is never neutral. She frames teachers, traditions, and entire lineages as guilty, corrupt, or inferior, pitting readers into silent jurors, nudged toward contempt and division. What few consider insight is actually conflict manufacturing disguised as scholarship. How does a distortion factory like this draw thousands of likes? Are these genuine followers or algorithmic ghosts? Either way, the effect is the same. Peer pressure as mind control, engineered to make you doubt your own discernment. Once you see the pattern, you no longer marvel at her work, which is draped in heavy citations to feign scholarship, only to coerce you into swallowing her perversions of the Dharma. Adele needs no critics. Her own depraved mind undoes itself. Pierce through her writing to its malicious core. Just look closer and notice. And when you aim your torchlight to Adele Tomlin's incongruent shadows, the engineered mystique of Dakini Translations evaporates.